Hello. Firstly, I hope you all had good Thanksgivings and have been living your lives the best you possibly can with your limited perspectives. I will also say this video is not going to be very visually stimulating unless you find my face visually stimulating, in which case I can see the point to you. So you can put it in the background. But I will also say, and this is a life hack, and I hope that you will hear this, and if nothing else, learn this from this video. Anything for educational purposes or that you want to consume for educational purposes, I highly suggest putting in 1.5 speed or 2.0 speed just to consume it faster. So I do suggest doing that now. And with formalities out of the way, I will now get into it. I would like to start saying I was in the hospital for 9 days recently. I'm still recovering from a lifelong disease. Sure, none of you really care, but the point being, I've had a lot of time to ponder things at a deeper level. Recently, I contacted an ex-poker pro and ex-life coach. I asked him for advice. When he heard snippets of my life journey, of course, I spared him some details, only feeding him the information that was absolutely necessary to understand me. He told me it sounds like I've lived my life casually up to this point, or at least it sounds like it. He told me he meant no offense by that, and of course, I told him no mistake whatsoever. He said I bounced around between too many avenues: MMA, music, pro gaming, so on, so on. He was like, in his words, talking about himself, I'm a pro poker player and I'm really good at poker, but if you asked me to play a shooting video game or something that requires quick mechanics, I would surely lose, even though I'm a world-class poker player. Now, of course, he said more than this, and I'm paraphrasing, but I'm just getting down to the nitty-gritty. Now, it's not that what he said, it's how he said it. That after a deeper consideration and pondering it with deep reflection, did I reach my Eureka moment thanks to him and his words. Outside looking in, most people would say I'm a hard worker, as I do expose myself to many avenues and intellectual pursuits. I've become proficient at a multitude of things/subjects. I climb to the top 1% in many avenues, I've skipped grades, so on. Yeah, and this is not to sound pretentious, it is almost like my whole life I've been seeing these accolades as a justification for coasting, if you will. It's almost like I've given 50% my whole life and been satisfied due to the accomplishments and small exposure, instead of my own self-improvement and seeing how far I can push my mental capacity. Seeing just how much I can retain, how much can I learn. A great example I've been giving people is I'm a cybersecurity student. To start, you learn networking. Don't worry, I won't bore you with the details. Well, I read the first 2 chapters and had them memorized as per usual. The recommended stopping after 2 and writing things down to memorize them, and such is the difference between a server and client, for example. Yet I retain not only the difference between these two, but even minute details, such as TLA, which means 3-letter acronym, and NTLA, which I believe is what it was, means not a 3-letter acronym, which basically means a 4-letter or more acronym because there is no abbreviation for 4-letter acronyms. The book even tells you not to memorize this, but I did, because that's just the way my brain works. I recalled operating systems and differences between one of them and one dedicated being a server for the main computer on a network and so on, because they do not use operating systems, they actually use their own servers that you have to download. Yet what I should have said to myself was, good for you. Why didn't you push yourself to memorize the first 4 chapters then, and so on? If your mind pumps on a much larger scale than most people, why don't you take advantage of it? Why don't you push it? Once again, I lived my life passively. Once again, I was satisfied with barely trying and being better due to results, not effort. The conclusion is, and I hope some of you hear this, and it helps you too, is I'm going to start living my life more actively. I'm going to start pushing myself harder, as both a tactician and a student, because we never know how far we can go till we reach our limit. Who knows? Perhaps we are limitless. And now was reading off a script, and I'm going to go a little off script here, but I just want to say that I hope this does reach some of you, and I hope it does help, because it sounds so simple, yet this small thing is going to drastically change my life for the better, I feel. And if any of you have also climbed to the top of many things but have nothing to show for it, I hope it also reaches you and awakens you to your own truth. And maybe it's not the same as mine, maybe it's a little different, but perhaps it's still something you needed to hear. Thank you guys all for your time. I love you all. Hope you have a great night/day depending on where you're from. And may you have great success in your life journeys and the constant expansion of your space. Goodbye.